The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Rest in peace to Takeoff from the Migos. But he had that song, right? Walk it like you talk it. Walk it like you talk it. Yeah, Tocchet's doing a lot of talking. Talking, but nobody's really listening. Same old story. I'm depressed. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Kyle, we'll see if we can cure your depression here on Locked On Canucks. For you listening, welcome to the show. I'm Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. And Kyle, if you want to touch on something positive later on in the show, I did a piece on Tom Willander this morning for Daily Hive. But for this show right here, again, we're not here without you listening. So we want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Locked On Canucks. If you like what we're doing, go subscribe on YouTube. Go follow us on the podcast side. And Kyle, I've been worried that you're going to stop following this team.
No, I'm here forever.
Rather than later.
I'm here forever, even though Rick Dhaliwal is reporting that the Carolina Hurricanes did offer a first-round pick for Brock Boeser. But apparently, he ain't worth shit, right? Alvin, what's going on? Who's talking out of whose ass? Like, what's going on here? All in all, the Locked On Canucks, Bagsy, I cut you off, but I'm not leaving this team. But this team is leaving me insane. Yep.
I mean, that's a fair comment, and I think they're driving Rick Tocchet insane as well. So I think a couple things I want to touch on today, first and foremost, are, what does Rick Tocchet do next with these players, and is there a next step in terms of cutting guys' ice time? Because we saw last night, Jake DeBrusk, the low man in terms of ice time and even strength. What comes next for Brock Boeser and Elias Pettersson as well? I do got one depressing stat to share your way about Elias Pettersson, but we'll touch on that later. I also want to touch on the leadership thing as well, because one of the newest members of the Vancouver Canucks, in fact, the newest member of the Vancouver Canucks, was wearing an A last night on his jersey in place of some of the guys who are supposed to be veterans on this team. So what's going on there? Why is a guy who's been here for 5 weeks wearing a letter over some guys who have been here for years already? We'll also touch on the GOATs of the week as well. But Kyle, let's go first to the comments. First and foremost, how was your weekend, buddy? Like, what were you doing last night when the Canucks game was on? I figured you were getting late or something.
No. I was just, I just went out for dinner, did my thing. I already ditched a couple dates with my girl in recent history because of the Canucks. Because I'm like, the schedule just not in my head, embedded in my head, and I'm like, oh damn, we play tonight. I can't chill tonight. But all in all, I was able to watch the game at dinner, compromised, and she actually likes watching hockey too. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but all in all, Alvin lying to me was like, it hurt me, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was hurt on Friday, and I felt like I had to take a little bit of a break. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I didn't deserve what the Canucks just did to me. Now I don't know if Rick Dhaliwal is right or not. Again, he's reporting that Carolina did offer a first-round pick for Brock Boeser because they got a couple extra from Dallas in that Rantanen trade. Again, who's telling the truth? But the more I trust my intuition, I think I already know the answer. Anyways, we doubled down on this leadership group, right? We're in a playoff spot. We doubled down on Boeser. We didn't want to get any worse. We're in a playoff spot. We got to fight for a playoff spot. Stanley Cup, Stanley Park, Vancouver. I get it, right? But if that's the case, why? Where do I want to go with this? Do I want to blame Alvin, or do I want to blame Boeser, or do I want to blame Tocchet? All in all, though, Brock Boeser. Let's just start with the player. I think it's not easier to start with the player, but at the end of the day, these guys play hockey, okay? And I know it's a business, and you can get pissed off at your boss and whatnot. You can get pissed off at your coach, and again, your GM practically saying you're worth nothing than a third-round pick. I know I'm paraphrasing, but that's the energy Brock's probably getting from his organization at the top. They don't want to pay him. Now they're talking shit about him. I know all that's happening, Brock, but people pay to watch you play. No, real talk. That's it. People pay to watch you play. People spend their money going to bars to watch you play. People spend their time to watch you play. Families do that, okay? So, Brock, I don't give a shit what's going on with you in the top of the organization. When it gets to playing the game, you got to buy in. When your team's in a playoff spot, you got to buy in. That's your reputation as a player on the line. because you're playing like somebody that doesn't deserve a big contract, first of all. Second of all, yeah, the organization isn't doing you well, too. The third, and most importantly, Trevor, I'm just very disappointed in the leadership group of this team. And I keep saying it, and I want better. But to hear like Rick Tocchet say what he said yesterday, and you probably have the quote in front of you, he said something different, but he's been saying that all season long. And that's why there's a big reason why, not just a big reason, but there's a big truth in this team needing to name Marcus Pettersson an assistant captain over some other guys. Okay? Honestly. This change has to happen, bro, because it ain't happening here.
Yeah, well, here's the quote from Tocchet when he was asked about the low ice time for DeBrusk, Boeser, and Pettersson. He said, quote, "You got to earn your ice time around here. That's how you win. So you guys can stir it up. You guys being the media, you guys can stir it up all you want. You have to earn your ice time. I don't care how long you've been here. You got to earn your ice time." And you could kind of hear the testiness in his voice when he was asked that question. I believe he started answering that question before Daniel Wagner finished even asking it. So, look, I think Talk is at the point now where he's grasping at straws in terms of, what buttons to push to these players. And I do wonder, and you put the lines in an absolute blunder last night. I mean, Cal, there's a time there where he put together, I heard your voice in my head. He put together Bluger, Joshua, and Garland again.
Yeah.
One cycling it around. But look, at the end of the day, this team's only going to go as far as their stars take them. And right now, their stars are taking them down the standings and not up the standings. And this is a team that desperately misses Quinn Hughes. It's a team that knows how to defend, but with Elias Pettersson and Brock Boeser and Jake DeBrusk, let's throw him to that conversation too. With those three guys, your three highest paid forwards playing the way they are, this team is going nowhere but down the standings.
Answer me why. I feel like I've heard that sentence many times. Like, let's instead of just talking about their games and their inconsistency, I think there's like one obvious reason why they're doing that. It's because that locker room environment, for whatever reason, they don't look up to Quinn Hughes, man. Like they don't follow the leader. I'm not blaming Quinn Hughes. I'm blaming the other guys, to be honest. But it just seems as if they just don't get it, man. You can't bring in that type of effort. I know you're playing Dallas. I know Dallas is a really good team, and the Canucks are the Canucks. But in essence, people want to play devil's advocate with the Canucks, right? Not trading Brock Boeser for a first round pick or a second round pick, as Hans right into saying, who cares about those first round picks from Dallas or Carolina? They would have been second round picks anyways. I'll rebuttal with that in a couple of minutes. But some fans are like, you know what? This is a vote of confidence with this team, right? These players probably love the fact that Alvin didn't do anything, which I find BS too. I don't think Quinn Hughes loves it. Okay. All in all, though, this team should be appreciative. Okay. Well, how come you can't string together back-to-back prominent efforts post-deadline? And I'm more specifically talking about the three amigos at the top of the forward group. Like, why? And DeBrusk just got there, so I'm more looking at Boeser and Pettersson. And I look at those two guys, and, dude, I support them, and I want them to prove me wrong, but I just feel as if anytime there's just a little bit of, like, shenanigans from the top rope, they just tune out. They tune out, like maybe, I don't know, maybe Pettersson doesn't like the way that the organization talked about Brock, and it kind of bugs him, and he carries that energy into the rink. Like you kind of see that from Brock too, and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. And to circle back on Tocchet, like I think he's just fed up with the country club atmosphere, man. And you mentioned in the group chat, so why don't you say it, man? I know you may.
It definitely felt like
media pass, Trevor, after this one, but you may not be invited to the country club after what you got to say.
Yeah, that's all right, man. I'm a Surrey boy. I don't need to be in no country club. Shout out to Surrey. It just looks like there's a country club atmosphere going on with the Canucks right now, right? Like I said it last night on the postcast as well. Like you need guys to drag you into the fight, and JT Miller was that guy to drag this team into the fight for a long time. Okay, I'll cue the music, man. It's unbelievable. I'm going down this road again, but the past 4 to 5 seasons, and Quinn Hughes, he drags his team to the fight in a different way, but they don't have that raw leader to really drag this team into the fight. And it can't come from the depth guys. It's got to come from a Pettersson or a Boeser, even a DeBrusk if you want to throw him into that category. And right now, just that none of them are going consistently, right? Yeah, like Pettersson, we're kind of grasping like period by period of this guy's bouncing back, and all of a sudden he just kind of reverts back to his old ways. And Kyle, like the craziest stat that I kind of found this morning, just doing some stats taking for the episode. Elias Pettersson, there was a 15-game stretch from November 9th to December 10th where he had 21 points in 15 games. It's almost incredible that even happened this season, but there's a little blip in time there where he kind of looked like his old self, most of it with Miller out of the lineup. In the other 47 games he's played this season, he has 6 goals and 15 points. That's like a fourth line, 0.36 points per game on every game of the season aside of the 15 games stretch where he looked good. 42 games. There we go. 15 points in 42 games.
Yeah.
And yeah, his 0.36 points per game tied with guys like Johnny Brodzinski and Adam Gaudette. Like, aside from that 15-game stretch, he's basically playing like a fourth-line player. Like, we keep calling this guy Philip Deneau. No. He's producing like a fourth liner outside of one 15-game stretch this season. And,
Yep.
Unless it turns around, and again, you hope that it's going to turn around at some point, but man, oh man, it's like you just want to see the effort there.
Yeah,
and the effort again was there for a couple of games in Anaheim and in Minnesota, and then the effort after just hitting the post in the first period. It's like, oh well, work here's done. Time to take the rest of the night off.
It's like Brock Boeser, win more board battles. Hey, Jake DeBrusk, I know you want to wait till April till you play the Maple Leafs in the playoffs in the first round of the playoffs, right? Oh, we can't. You know what I'm saying, Jake DeBrusk? The time is now for you to finish some checks, please. But that's not happening because again, he saves it for the playoffs, and yeah, we've already rebutted for Pettersson. Like, those 3 bare minimum have to do a lot better in must-win games, and just not a good look. And I guess it leads me to this question. Yeah, depressing episode. No one or nobody wants to watch us on this Monday, right? For real, but straight up, it's like, no, honestly, like the Canucks after the. You think I'm the only one that felt it, right? Post trade deadline, like, when you've had enough and you're just like, yeah, I just need a little break. Okay, come on, like, that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm not gonna take the break, but you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are like that right now, and they're just so bored of what you and I are talking about right now. All in all, though, is it Tocchet or Pettersson? Is it Tocchet or this core? Like, what do you think this organization is gonna do? Because I think it's gonna come down to that. I think it is, and my answer would be they keep Pettersson. Tocchet doesn't come back because he doesn't want to deal with this, and Foot gets promoted. No, honestly, because I see that train of thought, not because Aquilini's trying to save money and like not splurging on a big name head coach, but because they kind of want to keep the same leaders. And I know it's been hectic. And to be honest, like Alvin and Rutherford haven't had a perfect year this season as well when it comes to being leaders and being scouts. Okay. I guess Alvin and Rutherford. Did I say that? Yeah, I think so. All in all, though, I just feel as if they want to keep the culture that they're trying to instill. I know it's not working with some guys, but they want to keep that going, and Foot just seems like the next guy up. And I'll let you answer, but then on the other side, I want to talk more about why this is such an important decision, because it rhymes with a huge decision. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah, that's a bit of a bold take, but if you're going to keep one of the coaches, I mean, keep Quinn Hughes' favorite coach of all time, and that is Adam Foote. And yeah, I think that's something we're going to have to touch on in later episodes. I mean, what is the choice going to be for this management team, this ownership group? I mean, they've already once chosen Rick Tocchet over Connor Bedard. Will they choose Rick Tocchet over some of the other core players?
Let's just talk about it today. I'm fired up. I want to talk about it today. Let's talk about the other side. I'm sorry. We got to talk about it. If you want to talk about the leadership thing, we got to, like, who's the other leaders? Marcus Pettersson? It's Quinn Hughes and Marcus Pettersson. Like, if it's the leadership thing that matters to Alvin and Rutherford, like, it's okay to put your head coach up there. Trevor, you and I are big fans of the NFL. The head coach is a big thing, bro. It's a big thing.
You got to have the top cheese at the top. A shout out to your Green Bay Packers, Kyle. Let's talk about Canucks leadership. We're also going to go to the week of some of your comments on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back after shouting at our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. There's nothing I love more than a mouthful of nuts, especially when those nuts come from Wonderful Pistachios, baby. They're the snack that's both delicious and nutritious. And I didn't even know this, Cox. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but Wonderful Pistachios, they are one of the best sources of protein out there, okay? So throw away those T-bone steaks. What? Because each 1 ounce serving of Wonderful Pistachios has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, Wonderful Pistachios, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fat to help you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I like the naked nuts, aka the no shells variety. I like to pop them in my mouth morning, noon, and night, whether I'm at my desk, in the car, or going to bed. They're always my go-to. And if you like the teas, you can also get the in-shell classic. They are also one of my favorites, okay? Whatever it is, I just love those pistachios, especially those wonderful pistachios. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. If you're watching this, I know it's depressing, but hit the like button, okay? Put a smile on our faces, man. Spread love. Hey, you never know. Maybe that'll cheer us up. Maybe that'll let the Canucks start winning games. You never know. Positivity is very, very, very powerful. I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up, and now I read a lot of Deepak Chopra, okay? There could be a lot of magic in that like button. And Trevor, let's just get to the damn comments, because maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't read this comment. Look at this comment from Elston, okay? We're paying the price for not tanking for Bedard and saying that a Vancouver-based hockey club wouldn't tank when the 2 years in a row were first overall picks from Van, okay? We talk Macklin, Connor Bedard, and we wanted the coach's bump. That's what Elston's referring to. Remember, the Canucks were free-falling. They were free-falling. Maybe like 30, 40 games left. And they decided that they want to fly, okay? They want to get to surface level, and they hired Tocchet, and the tank was no longer the tank. We instilled effort early, and honestly, I was celebrating that, because look at what we did last year. We needed that 30-game head start, but it's talk like, I don't know, is the messaging wearing thin? And to me, it's like, Boeser, Pettersson, how can you guys let it wear thin when to Quinn Hughes it's not wearing thin? Now, I don't think Quinn Hughes is lying to us when he's openly gloating about Adam Foote and Rick Tocchet. Okay, he's not he doesn't strike me as that type of guy. Maybe he's cerebral and he is that guy and he's just playing a good hero in front of the camera. But I feel like I can see it in his eyes that he's serious when he says those two are the best coaches he's ever had. And then, oh yeah, you can see it on the ice too, because he's played like he's been the best defenseman in hockey the 2 full seasons where those guys are in charge. So that's why I'm questioning it again. And let us know in the comments below, okay? Who was Alvin and Rutherford going to pick? Are they going to pick Tocchet and Quinn Hughes, or are they going to pick Pettersson? I think that's fair to ask. And for all these people that are like, oh, yeah, Quinn Hughes, best friends with, he sits with Pettersson on the airplane and he's best friends with Brock Boeser. Like, he's going to be so upset if they get, he's not going to be upset if they get traded. I'm sorry. Because to Quinn Hughes, like, don't get me wrong, friendship and being a human is first and foremost a thing to him. I know that's the case, but no, that guy's all business, baby. He's a dog. He's a dog, and he wants to win games.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen more guys that want to win games, and I stole this from Shorzy, but I said on last night's show, it's not only players that want to win games, but players who hate to lose. I love that quote from Shorzy. I just don't think there's enough guys in the Canucks that hate to lose right now, and I can bet you a guy like Quinn Hughes, he effing hates to lose. I will say this about 2023, because you brought it up quickly here. The Canucks, again, we joked on the show when we took over Locked On Canucks in 2023 that the Canucks chose Rick Tocchet over Connor Bedard, specifically a chance at drafting Connor Bedard. But I think we all know the Canucks, they probably wouldn't have finished worse than about the 5th worst team in the NHL that season. So the shot at getting Connor Bedard was pretty small. And of course, he went to one of the 3 worst teams. Without having like a top 3 pick in the draft, that was Bedard, Carlson, or Fantilli. I do wonder if Tom Willander might still be one of the best players drafted in that draft. And, you know, I've been watching a lot more Tom Willander tape. He could join the Canucks within the next couple of weeks here. So we'll touch on that more as the days go by here on Locked On Canucks. But, you know, the more I watch Tom Willander, I do truly believe he has that Charlie McAvoy, Brock Faber-like potential.
Ooh, I like the Brock Faber comparison. I like it because we just saw him 2 days ago. I like that. It's clicking.
Yeah, and again, might not be the most prolific offensive producer, but I think he's just a guy who is so aggressive in terms of his defending, so quick. Obviously not going to be maybe super polished coming into the NHL right away, but I think Tom Willander has a shot at being one of the best players drafted. He might even be the best defenseman drafted in that draft. I mean, the guy's taken ahead of him, David Reinbacher, unfortunately was missed almost all the season with injury, and Dmitry Simashev. I love his skating, but again, I do wonder about his offensive skill in the NHL level. So I'm just going to say, I know 2023, everyone wanted to tank for Bedard. But we did get, one damn good ride last season under Rick Tocchet. And I think Tom Willander will be an NHL contributor and an impact player sooner rather than later.
Yeah, like ASAP, hopefully. Hopefully it's not on some moral victory stuff too. Like I want Willander playing with the Canucks this year when they need some points, okay? Not like this whole, I know the season sucks, but at least we have Tom Willander. Look how good he is. I don't want any of that. We already played that game with Adam Gaudette. We even used that card with Brock Boeser way back when, we're feeling crazy, late in that season. He scores in his first game against Minnesota. Like all these beautiful things. We did that with Quinn Hughes too. We burned that first year, that entry deal, right? Just to get some more season ticket buyers, okay? For the following season. Do the math. All in all, though, I'm big into Tom Willander. And I have faith that he's going to be one of the best players in that draft. Again, you want to talk about character guys, and I know it's so early to tell, but I just watched that guy's interviews, and I'm like, yo, why does this guy sound like he's 33 years old? And he sounds really boring, too, because sometimes he just talks about winning. Like, I like that. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Carry on.
No, I think I was just going to say, I completely agree with what you're saying. And again, not just the intangible side too, but I think he's just a great hockey player. The top penalty killer at Boston University, playing some big minutes. Basically, if Boston University doesn't make it to the Frozen Four, and they are not one of the best teams in NCAA this season, then their season will be over by the end of March, which means that Tom Willander would have potentially a 5, 6, 7 game stretch to play in the regular season and potentially playoffs as well. And I think one last thing I wanted to mention, I found this interesting kind of digging into this for Daily Hive. I forgot about it, but Charlie McAvoy, he played 2 years at Boston University, just like Tom Willander, came out of college and played with the Boston Bruins immediately. His first 6 games were playoff games. In those 6 games, he averaged 26 minutes per game. As a dude who just came out of college, and who he played with mainly? Zdeno Chara. Now, I can't think of 2 different guys than Zdeno Chara and Quinn Hughes, but Patrick Allvin said it before that he believes Tom Willander is the perfect fit for Quinn Hughes. I just wonder if there's a world where Tom Willander kind of pulls the Charlie McAvoy and ends up playing big minutes for the Canucks in the playoffs, whether it's beside Hughes or somebody else. We're going to make it to the playoffs first and foremost for that to happen. But again, I think there is some real potential that Tom Willander can make a difference, sooner rather than later. I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy. Like, I won't be disappointed if that's not the case. But I do think he has the potential to be an impact.
I think so too, man. I'm excited to see it, man. I'm excited to see it. We're trying to get a little positive here, but man, should we talk about it? Should we talk about how you and I are just so sad and so pathetic? Like, we're still only 1 point out of a playoff position, and there's 19 games left, and there's still a chance, right?
No, but I mean, Kyle, to back us up, we're echoing the fan base right now. We've seen the stats. We talked about it last night. This is a dreadful team offensively. It's arguably the worst offensive team in the NHL.
And
how can we not be sad about it?
No, of course. No, I'm just saying in general, like, there's still that chance that you and I are getting together for a game in April and just high-fiving each other and smiling, whether that smile lasts 10 minutes or, we get to game 7 or round 1, like, it's still going to be a lot of fun. And there's still that opportunity. And, you brought up a good point, like, in regards to Willander possibly playing some playoff games. Okay. And I'll throw Elias Pettersson in that mix too. Heck, I throw Elias Pettersson in that mix too. Like, just the more playoff experience is so needed for this club. And since we've already gone all in, like, the Canucks are all in this year to do that, right? That's their goal. As a fan base being 1 point down, like, I know it seems like it's going to be daunting in the playoffs and not quote unquote worth it, but just to make next year better, you best believe they have to make the playoffs. Like, you got to stack, like, it's called momentum, right? And it may not be round 2, game 7 against the Oilers and you're coming 1 goal short, but you want to just keep building. And if they don't make the playoffs, and it's actually like the ultimate step back, and people like to look at that and be like, okay, no, they need to take a step back so management can look at this team right. And if they make the playoffs, they're going to think they're too good. And No. Look at the quotes, okay? Allvin and Rutherford have talked so much shit about this team. Like, they don't like this team, okay? They're going to make some moves. Whatever happened at the deadline, it rhymes with Aquafina, okay? Okay? Straight up, okay? Do the math, okay? Like, moves are going to happen regardless, but I just need Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson. Guys like Kiefer, they just need to, like, get playoff experience. And now that you brought up Tom Willander, like, what if he gets to play a couple extra games this year? Because the Canucks are playing a couple extra games, and that all adds up to next year. And all in all, like I'm curious to see how this week goes. And go Canucks, go Canucks, go. Okay.
Go Canucks, go, man. There you go. See, this could have been a very negative segment. Ended up being a positive segment. We'll keep some of the positivity going as we wrap up the show here on Locked On Canucks as we get to our goats of the week on the other side. Kyle, I'll give it to you before break.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's go to break in 10 seconds. But I also do want to rebuttal with the homie. It's his first time commenting, I think. Hans Dryden. Cool name.
Hans Dryden.
About who cares about getting Dallas's first round pick or Carolina's in a trade for Brock Boeser? It's not worth it. It's still a second round pick. I want to rebuttal with that after the break.
Yeah, we'll do that after the break. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back after shouting out our friends over at Factor. All right, so you've gotten off to a good start this year by popping those nuts from wonderful pistachios in your mouth. But Factor, they take it a level further, okay? Are you looking to optimize your nutrition here in 2025? Well, Factor, they make eating, well, easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. Good. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks to keep you fooled all day. I like how Factor, they take the stress out of meal planning, okay? I got 2 young kids. I got a wife. I got to feed my family. You think I got time to feed my family? Not in a healthy way. Not until Factor came along, okay? I recently tried the Protein Plus meals from Factor because I got to bulk up, man. This dad bod, it ain't sticking around. I got to bulk up. Ball hockey season coming up. And these Factor Protein Plus meals, they were packed with flavor. It kept me full throughout the day. The convenience is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. So make sure, like me, you eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 off and use code LockedOnNHL50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LockedOnNHL50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bound. That right there's the second best dad in the world. How's the weekend with the family, man? What, like, anything fun? Anything new happen?
It was a pretty rainy weekend, but I took my son jumping in puddles, and we ventured down. Okay, you remember you and me went to the beach by my house that one time? There's there's a stairwell, and then you kind of cut down through the woods to get to the beach. Yeah. It's like, 5 times sketchier to get down now. There's like trees that have fallen down, and there's like mud and ropes you got to go down to get to the beach. But I did it with my son in my arms, man. So that was a fun moment to have the risk of falling down a cliff with your son in your arms.
You call HR on you, buddy.
I'm gambling with my daughter, and I'm taking my son climbing on mud and ropes, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unreal. Anyways, let's get to the comment. Okay, this one comes from Smelly. He says, Kyle, stop with the playoff experience. It didn't do anything for this year. That's a good point, but I'm still going to bank on that being the goal for this team and us needing that as a fan base as well, because what's the other option?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the other option is like blow it up.
No, but we can't blow it up. It's over. Like, the trade deadline's passed, right? We're 1 point out of a playoff. Like, I'm okay with the fan base buying in and cheering for a playoff spot, because the other option is finishing 10th, 11th, or 9th. And, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't think it's a benefit for DPD and maybe more games for Tom Melander? And I don't give a crap about all the other guys and how they came into this season post one playoff experience, but Quinn Hughes learned from it, and now I want him to learn from it again. You guys can all jump off the Quinn Hughes wagon and already trade this guy to New Jersey 2 years. You guys can live in 2027, 2028, whatever the year is, or 2026, 2027. Okay, the year where he turns into a UFA, if I'm correct. Y'all could already be there. I'm not there yet. I want the Canucks to do great things next season, and Quinn Hughes has already learned so much from one playoff experience. Let him play some more games in the playoffs. Like, you got to stack up wins. You want the ultimate prize. You want the ultimate thing, the Stanley Cup. Like, look how many times it took Tampa Bay, to win a Stanley Cup. They got swept by Columbus. Look how many times it took Washington to win the Stanley Cup. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't always linear in the playoffs. It wasn't like, oh, I made the second round, then we made the third round, then we made the fourth round. It wasn't like that. But you need those trials and tribulations in the playoffs to keep building, because you don't want to be an organization that looks back at the previous season. You're like, yeah, we didn't even make the playoffs. We finished 10th, but the year before that, we made the playoffs. Like, it just sounds a little sexier, a little kinder. Again, this is some Deepak Chopra type energy. Just bank the playoff experience, because, hey, what else are we going to do this year? Like, well, there's not one good thing comes if they finish 9th this year. Not one good thing. A little bit of good can be pulled from a first round playoff outing with whatever team. Even if we lose in 5 or 6, there's going to be good. There's going to be some good from that.
Yeah, I completely agree, Kyle. And I think what comes to mind for me is the Vegas Golden Knights. Right? They did miss the playoffs that one year where they had a bunch of injuries, finished 9th, and they went on to win the Stanley Cup next season. So it's not like they missed the playoffs as the be all or end all. But like you said, nothing good comes from missing the playoffs. I mean, the worst place to be in the NHL is not 32nd; it's 9th in your conference. You do not want to be the best of the mushy middle teams and finish outside of the playoffs. There's just no benefit to that. You got to get into the playoffs, especially the Canucks. They doubled down on this team at the deadline. They chose not to sell. You got to make the playoffs. And again, if they don't, it's going to be a huge disaster. And if they make the playoffs, our narrative is going to be, well, they made the playoffs despite everything that went on this season. So that's pretty damn good. So really, I think the season hinges on whether they make the playoffs or not.
100%. And I want to get to one more comment. Maybe we have to push Goats till tomorrow. Who cares? Does it really matter about Goats? I know we won 2 games last week, but can we push Goats till tomorrow? Can we just talk about this? Okay, thank you. One more comment. So we're going back to the top with Hans' comment, okay? Again, Rick Dollywall reporting that Carolina did offer a first-round pick. And I'm not saying Alvin didn't say that, but, he did say you'd laugh at the offers that we got for Brock Boeser. And maybe, Alvin looked at a Dallas first-round pick or a Carolina first-round pick as like the 50th pick or 55th pick in the draft. And that's in his head, he's like, oh, that's a second-round pick, okay? Even though I doubt that. It's an Aquilini thing. That's why Brock Boeser's still a Canuck. It's Francesco Aquilini, okay? You still need those first-round picks, even if it's Dallas's, even if it's Vegas's. No, honestly. Because time in and time out, we see that even good teams like Carolina look past it. They traded Mikko Rantanen. They traded Martin Necich for those same first-round picks. Because they say first-round picks. Don't get me wrong. They don't ignore the fact that they're the late first-round picks or whatever. And I think I confused myself earlier. Like first-round picks, 28th pick, the 29th pick, whatever. Not the 50th picks, but the second-round pick kind of confused me. But you get what I'm saying. They're still first-round picks. So you take them. They still have some cachet. Whereas a guy like Brock Boeser, he had some at the deadline. He did. And now he has absolutely none. Like, even if you're trading this guy to get his draft rights, like you're getting a 5th or 6th-round pick, like, it's just like a fascinating time, and it was disappointing on Friday, Trevor. It was. Like I think it was more so disappointing to get lied to. Like if they came out and said, if they came out and said, we want to make the playoffs, and if we didn't have enough time to get those picks and flip them for somebody else, we weren't going to do it. I would have been okay with it. The truth, don't treat us like we're dumbasses. Because I get it. You want to make the playoffs. You're 1 point out of it. And at that point, I think you're actually 1 point into the playoffs, if I'm correct. Like, were they in the playoffs? No. They won Friday night. Okay, that's what made it.
They were tied, yeah.
All in all, though, the truth matters, man. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how late those first-round picks are. They have cachet, Trevor.
Yeah, and I do think there's a more quiet portion of the fan base who is okay with the Canucks not selling their assets at the deadline because they're in the thick of the playoff race. But I think most of the vocal fans say that the Canucks, should have done something at the deadline. But Kyle, to your point, this is a smart fan base, and you just can't F around. You can't lie to this fan base. And it felt like that's what Patrick Allvin did on Friday. Now, I know I played devil's advocate a bit on the postcast last night, but you see Brad Marchand, he gets traded for a conditional second-round pick, and it made me wonder, I do wonder if the value maybe wasn't there for Boeser overall. But then, of course, reports this morning suggest that maybe the value was there because, if you could have gotten a first for Brock Boeser and you don't plan on re-signing him, Like I'm not, even though he's been bad over this stretch, I'm not like fully on board with like, oh, just let him walk, right? I almost feel like it's like a lose-lose for management at this point if Brock Boeser doesn't perform. But yeah, I think at this point you can't lie to the fan base, and you would have if there was a first-round pick on the table. I think you should have taken it.
You should have taken her. You should have just like you don't have to like who's running. Like, are they having a little team meeting? Like, are they venting? You know, like before you talk to your significant other, you talk to your friends because so you don't like give your significant other like everything, like your full emotion. You know, your irrational thoughts, like your energy. Like, is Allvin going up to the like the microphone, having a little a venting session again with his brass? Like, same thing with Rutherford and stuff with the Global Mail article. Like, Allvin and Rutherford just like they've been talking mad, crazy all season. Okay. And there was a Allvin again, just saying what he said the way he said it. It immediately like just damages your relationship with Brock Boeser just a bit. And then like a couple hours later, he's talking to Sportsnet 650, and he's like he'd have to live with the consequences if like Brock Boeser walks. It's just like what's going on here? Like what? Like. Can we just hold it together? I like tight-lipped organizations. You know, don't get me wrong. I like all the quotes. I actually don't like, even though we talk about this stuff on a podcast. Like it's not. I don't need that. I don't. Let us theorize, but don't give it to us. Come on.
Yeah, tight-lipped organizations doesn't necessarily mean they're well-run either, right? I mean, look at Lou Lamoriello. Look at Steve Eisman right now. Teams that are in not great positions, right in the mushy middle, just like your Vancouver Canucks. Because it's all good. We got Quinn Hughes. I mean, we got Tom Willander. But let's get out of here for today's show, Kyle. We'll do GOATs on tomorrow's episode. And we got to talk tomorrow, Kyle, about the week that's going to decide the Vancouver Canucks season. It is a hell of a week coming up for your Vancouver Canucks. For now, we got to get out of here. Shout out to everyone listening, from the everydayers to the first-time listeners. Again, if you like what we're doing, go subscribe and like this video on YouTube. On the podcast side, oh, baby, go follow us and leave a 5-star review. For now, we got to get out of here, though. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bound. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.